He proposed with a speech that made everyone cry, but I'd heard it before word for word, in a YouTube video from 2014. He knelt just as the violin hit the swell. It was a rooftop downtown, twinkle lights strung across iron railings, champagne sweating on the trays, city skyline burning gold in the background. My dress matched the sunset. Our friends were half hidden behind potted ferns, grinning like they'd been holding in the secret for weeks. He took my hand and started to speak. "You make me want to be more." I covered my mouth with one hand, laughed, cried. The whole thing, he talked about how I made the world quieter, how I brought color to his grayscale days, how he knew he was going to marry me from the moment I scolded him for leaving his cart in the middle of the cereal aisle. The crowd giggled. He looked up at me with those two blue eyes and said, "You're my favorite place to come home to." I said yes before the ring even cleared the velvet box. Everyone clapped. Someone uncorked a bottle too early. The music swelled again. People cried, actual tears. Phones were out, flashlights dancing. Someone was already tagging us on Instagram. I kissed him, held his face in my hands like we were in a movie. And for a second, for that perfect second, it was everything I'd dreamed of. Perfect, almost too perfect. But I didn't notice that part until later, when the lights dimmed, when the laughter faded, when I was sitting alone in the bathroom, robes slipping off one shoulder, makeup half removed. And that one line, that one perfect line, kept echoing. "You're my favorite place to come home to." I sat on the bathroom floor with the robe knotted at my waist, ring still catching the soft yellow light from the vanity. My phone sat in my palm, untouched for the last 10 minutes, screen dimmed to black. But the phrase wouldn't leave. "You're my favorite place to come home to." The way he said it, soft, timed like a landing, had scratched something loose in me. Not in a bad way, just in a familiar way. I repeated it under my breath, once, twice, and then I searched it. I don't know why. Maybe I expected Pinterest quotes, Etsy prints, maybe a line from a romantic movie we both liked but forgot. But the top result wasn't a quote. It was a video. Most beautiful proposal ever caught on camera, 2014 viral original. I clicked before I could second guess myself. The thumbnail showed a different rooftop, different lights, but the caption read, "You're my favorite place to come home to." I pressed play, and within 5 seconds I stopped breathing. Because there he was, not my fiancé, but a man in a navy blazer and shy eyes, kneeling in front of a woman with trembling hands, speaking the same exact words I just heard hours ago. Same pauses, same rhythm, same inhale before forever. It was him but not him, and yet somehow also him. The words I said yes to weren't his at all. I watched the video all the way through. No blinking, no rewinding. Just a slow, suffocating silence as the man on screen poured his heart out using the exact same speech I'd thought was mine. Every line, every gesture, even the cereal aisle, even the damn cereal aisle. He held her hands like they were a promise. She cried just like I did. The crowd gasped at the same part. "You're my favorite place to come home to." The music swelled just before he reached into his jacket. It had nearly 14 million views. The comment section was still alive. At Loveless Storm, still the most beautiful proposal I've ever seen. At Claire with Curls, 2024, and this still makes me cry. At user12932, showed this to my boyfriend as inspo. He said too much. Guess who's single now? The video was posted 10 years ago. 10, before I ever met him, before I ever imagined this moment. Before I said yes to a man I thought had handed me his soul, only to find out it was rented. I sat in the stillness of that bathroom, the echo of applause still faint in my ears from earlier tonight, and whispered. He didn't even change a word. I played them side by side. My proposal, theirs, split screen on my laptop, volume low so I wouldn't wake him. On the left, my fiancé kneeling in his slate gray suit, hand trembling just enough to seem human. On the right, the stranger in navy, 10 years younger, but with the same emotional cadence. The same scripted charm. The same, "I want to grow old learning how to love you better." He didn't even flinch when he said it to me, because he didn't write it, he memorized it, line by line, word for word. Even the background music, the instrumental version of that one indie love song everyone used in wedding videos for a year, even that was the same. A quiet piano swell before the punchline about building a life out of ordinary Tuesdays. I leaned in closer, watched the way both men paused before saying forever, the same inhale, the same tilt of the head. This wasn't inspiration. This was plagiarism, and it wasn't just the words. It was the moment, our moment. Except it wasn't ours at all. It belonged to millions of strangers online, and I just said yes to it like it meant something. I closed the laptop slowly. My ring hand felt suddenly heavy, and somewhere behind the bedroom door, he was sleeping soundly, like someone who hadn't just stolen a story and sold it as a promise. Layla clocked it instantly. We were at our usual cafe the next morning, corner booth, oat lattes, 2 croissants, and her oversized sunglasses that only came out when she smelled drama. "You just got proposed to," she said mid-sip. "Why do you look like someone died?" I forced a smile. "I'm just tired." "You're lying." "No, I'm not." "You are. Your left eye twitches when you lie, and you haven't posted the proposal reel yet, which means you're either hiding the lighting was bad, or he said something that made your spine itch." I bit into my croissant, chewed, swallowed, but didn't answer. Layla leaned in. "Okay, what happened?" "Nothing." She narrowed her eyes. "You're wearing your don't ask me again voice, which means I'm absolutely going to." I stared at the latte. "You ever hear something?" I said slowly. That felt like déjà vu, but louder. Layla blinked. "Did he say something weird?" "He said something perfect." She waited and I cracked. "I found a video," I said, "on YouTube. From 2014. I pulled out my phone, hit play, let the clip run for 30 seconds, watched her face shift from confusion to disbelief to something like fury. "He didn't." I nodded. Layla pulled off her sunglasses. "He didn't." I nodded again. She stared at me stunned. "Girl, he even copied the part about the cereal aisle." I slumped against the booth. Layla's voice dropped. "You said yes to a copy and paste proposal. I didn't know it was plagiarized. And now the ring still sparkled. The world still thought we were magic, and I couldn't tell if I was more heartbroken or humiliated. My mom held the phone with both hands like it was a sacred object. She zoomed in on the ring with theatrical slowness, tilting it toward the light until the facets caught and flared across the breakfast table. "Oh, it looks even better in daylight," she sighed. I knew he had taste. I smiled barely. She didn't notice. She was already opening Facebook. I stirred my tea in silence. "You should post that rooftop picture," she said. "The one where you're crying, that's real emotion. People love that stuff." I took a slow breath. "Mom, MMHMM, I need to tell you something about the proposal." She waved a hand without looking up. "Let me guess, he blacked out and doesn't remember any of it." Typical man. "No, I mean, he used someone else's speech." That made her pause briefly, then she laughed. "Oh, sweetheart, don't be dramatic." "I'm not." "Maybe he just borrowed a few lines for inspiration," she said. "You know men, they panic, they Google. At least he cared enough to prepare." She clicked on a new tab, opened an article about engagement photo shoots. "Honestly," she added, "if I'd waited around for your father to come up with something original, we'd still be dating." I stared at her, at the way she brushed off my confusion, my ache, at the way she was more excited about the picture than the promise behind it. "Mom," I tried again. She didn't look up. "Don't overthink it. He loves you. That's what matters." I nodded slowly, but something in me whispered, "If this is what love looks like, what does honesty look like?" I said it out loud for the first time that night, not in a fight, not in a whisper. Just in the middle of Layla's apartment, barefoot with a glass of red wine in hand, surrounded by throw pillows and takeout bags. This was supposed to be our story. Layla looked up from the screen. "You mean?" I nodded. "It's someone else's." She didn't respond right away. Just grabbed the remote, rewound the video to the part we both now knew too well, the slow turn, the pause before you make me want to be more, the dramatic exhale before the ring box. She muted the sound, let the moment play again in silence. Then she searched. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, a few keywords, a timestamp, a Reddit thread. She was faster than me, hungrier, offended on my behalf in a way I didn't yet have the energy for. "There's even a Reddit post about it," she said. "Someone broke it down line by line 5 years ago, annotated, like poetry. Look, my love is the quiet after the storm, origin unknown, possibly taken from a spoken word poem at UCLA in 2010. I stared at the screen, my proposal, our proposal, not ours. Layla opened her phone, scrolled to his page, pulled up old captions. "Oh my God," she muttered. "He even copied the line about how your laugh cracks open the dark like a matchstick." She looked up. That was my favorite one. Mine too, until tonight. I sank back against the couch, suddenly cold, suddenly exhausted, because if every word I'd loved had come from someone else, who exactly had I said yes to? I waited until he got out of the shower. He was humming something, upbeat, stupid, happy, while steam billowed from the bathroom and fogged the mirror. He walked into the bedroom with a towel slung low on his hips, ran a hand through his damp hair, and smiled when he saw me sitting on the edge of the bed. "Hey, fiancé," he said like the word tasted sweet. I didn't smile back, he noticed. "What's wrong?" I didn't answer. Instead, I picked up the remote, pressed play. The video started instantly, the 2014 rooftop proposal, now permanently burned into my memory. Same lines, same phrasing, same music swell. He froze, watched it for 4 seconds, then 5, then. "So what if I did?" My jaw tightened. "You copied a stranger's proposal. I adapted it. You didn't change a single word. It's not plagiarism. He looked around like a defense might materialize. It's performance. Inspiration. People do it all the time." "Not to me," my voice cracked. "Not in that moment." "You loved it, didn't you?" I stared at him. "I saw your face. You were crying, everyone cried." I stood up. "Do you even hear yourself?" He reached for me. I stepped back. "Babe," he said gently, "you said yes." "I said yes to you, not to this." He didn't reply. I didn't need him to. Because in that moment, I realized the truth. He didn't propose to me. He performed for an audience. And I just happened to be standing center stage. He called it an overreaction. The next morning, over eggs neither of us touched, he leaned back in his chair like a man rehearsing a speech for a boardroom, not a relationship. "It's just words," he said, as if that should soften the betrayal. "It's not like I cheated." I stared at him across the kitchen table. "It was supposed to be ours." "It is ours," he argued. "The memory's still real. You said yes, you were happy." "I was happy because I thought you were being honest." He scoffed. "Babe, it's not that deep." I stood up. He followed. Okay, wait, do you want to redo?" Want me to freestyle some vows in the cereal aisle and call it authentic?" I didn't respond. "Come on," he added, arms wide, mock dramatic. "I'll even cry this time if that helps sell it." I walked away. He didn't stop me. Just called after me. "So what, you're gonna cancel everything over a YouTube video?" I didn't answer. Didn't slam the door, didn't make a scene, I just left. And the silence I left behind was the first real thing in the room. By the time I got back to my apartment, the save the dates were already trending. Someone had tagged us in an engagement recap reel, aerial shots of the rooftop, champagne popping, a slowed-down moment of me saying yes with mascara tears and shaky hands. The comments were flooding in. At Ally Writes, "This is actual goals, that speech. Are you kidding?" At Layla Styles, "If my man doesn't make me cry like this, I don't want it." At Meridan Still Mad, "Found mine through this video." Manifesting. I watched them scroll by, each heart-eyed comment sealing the lie tighter. Everyone thought we were perfect. And why wouldn't they? It was cinematic, polished, edited to feel like forever. The kind of performance people watched late at night and whispered, "I want this." The kind of proposal I used to dream about before I learned how much damage a well-timed gesture could hide. He texted once, "Let's not ruin this." Then again, "We can still be happy." Still. As if happiness were a thing you could press pause on and resume when the story picked up again. As if betrayal only counted if it was physical. As if borrowing someone else's love story and feeding it to me like it was his own wasn't a violation. I didn't respond, didn't call, didn't cry, because nothing was broken yet, but everything was fake. And I didn't know what was worse. The questions started small. A caption here, a compliment there, things I'd once brushed off as poetic, sweet, thoughtful, back when I was still charmed enough not to look too closely. But now I couldn't unsee it. I scrolled through his old messages. Instagram DMs, birthday cards I'd tucked into a shoebox under my bed. The one where he called me the spark in a world of static. It was a line from Reddit. I found it in a thread titled, "What's the most romantic thing you've ever said?" Dated 3 years before we met. The quote under the anniversary photo, a Pinterest pin from 2016. Floral background, script font. Even the heartfelt text he sent me on the night of my promotion, "Watching you rise makes me believe in something again," wasn't his. It was an excerpt from a Tumblr post that had over 200K notes. Every phrase I thought he wrote from the gut had been someone else's, and suddenly I saw it everywhere. The collage of quotes on our fridge, the speech he gave at his best friend's wedding, bits lifted from The Office, and a viral video titled "Best Man Toast That'll Make You Cry." Even the way he used to say, "You're my calm in the noise on bad days," that too was borrowed. I found it printed on a greeting card in an Etsy shop. And as I sat there, laptop open, browser tabs stacked like accusations, I felt something buckle inside me. This wasn't just about a proposal. This was about a pattern. What else was real? His vows, his stories, his feelings. The man I said yes to didn't just steal words. He built a life with them. And now I had to decide, was I engaged to a liar or just a very good actor? The engagement party was in 5 days. Venue, a vineyard outside the city, all soft lighting and floral arches. Lavender menus had already been printed. RSVPs closed. The caterer had confirmed the final count, and my mom had sent me a picture of the custom cocktail napkins with our initials intertwined in rose gold foil. I stared at the napkin photo for a long time. We were too far in. Or at least everyone else was. Layla came over with 2 bottles of wine and a playlist titled "Break Up or Burn It Down." She handed me the remote and said, "You canceling this party or hijacking it?" I looked at her. She looked at me. We didn't smile. "We could just not show up," I said. "You could," she agreed. "Or you could show them who they're really clapping for." She set her laptop on the counter, tapped the keyboard. The 2014 video opened again. I didn't need to watch it. Not this time. I knew every beat, every pause, every line. Layla closed the tab. "You don't owe him an audience," she said. "But if he insists on playing one." She reached into her bag and held up a USB stick. "Give him a screen." I didn't cry, not then. I just nodded and started planning a different kind of toast. I labeled the folder. Proposal Take 1. No drama, no flourishes. Just a plain black screen with a file inside. The 2014 YouTube video, downloaded, clipped, trimmed to the exact speech that had broken something in me I hadn't known could be copied. I muted it the first time I watched it again, then unmuted. Then turned the volume up until the words filled my apartment, bleeding out of the speakers and into the walls like a confession. Layla sat across from me, legs tucked under her on the couch, saying nothing. She didn't need to. This wasn't about revenge. It was about clarity. I dragged the file to a USB, checked it again. The link was already backed up in an email draft addressed to myself, subject line, "In case he forgets." I formatted the slideshow he insisted we show at the party. The baby photos, the college snaps, the blurry vacation selfies that looked like love, because that's what we wanted them to look like. The last slide was blank, just a title, "Before we go any further." I inserted the video, let it run. Watched the words come out of a stranger's mouth again and again until they lost all shape. Then I closed the laptop, slipped the USB into a box with the rose gold napkins, and went asleep, peacefully, because the truth didn't need a spotlight. It just needed a screen. The vineyard was everything it promised to be, filtered light through eucalyptus trees, champagne towers already bubbling, a live band tuning up beneath string lights strung like stars. Guests arrived in linen and lace. They greeted us with the kind of warmth that makes you feel like your relationship is a public holiday. Arms thrown around shoulders, voices high with approval, people saying, "Finally," like we owed them the illusion of forever. I smiled, thanked them, let him rest his hand on the small of my back like we were still synced. Still real. Layla hovered nearby, eyes sharp beneath her lashes, dressed dark and simple. My mom kissed my cheek, whispered, "You're glowing," like she hadn't missed every flicker behind my eyes all week. Even he looked relaxed. Polished. Performing, he was good at that. Our names were spelled out in white block letters behind the champagne wall. A slideshow flickered behind the dessert table, Childhood photos, awkward teen years, college parties, our first trip to Barcelona. People clapped, laughed. Someone wiped a tear during a photo of us kissing under fireworks. I stood beside him, ring heavy on my finger, wondering how many people knew that a well-timed pause could mask almost anything. The screen dimmed. The band paused. The mic was handed to me. He winked. The crowd quieted. I looked out at the faces of people who thought they knew our story and said calmly, "Before we go any further, I want to show you something beautiful." The screen flickered once. Then again, the crowd turned, some clutching glasses, others mid-sip, waiting for another round of curated memories. But what played wasn't ours. It was the rooftop video from 2014, the original, the one that started this whole unraveling. No sound at first, just a grainy shot of city lights and a man kneeling before a woman with wide, trembling eyes. Then came the words, "You make me want to be more." A collective hum rippled through the room, soft at first, confused. Then the music swelled, that same instrumental piano melody, and the man on screen continued, "You're my favorite place to come home to." It hit like a slap, one guest gasped. Another turned to whisper something behind a perfectly manicured hand. The video kept playing. Same cadence, same lines, same performance. Except this wasn't the one they'd clapped for on Instagram. This wasn't mine. And slowly, the room began to realize that. My cousin muttered, "That's not him." Someone near the back laughed nervously. Layla didn't move, she didn't need to. She was watching him. He stood stiff beside me, hands at his sides, lips pressed into a line that used to pass for confidence. He didn't speak, didn't reach for me, just stared at the screen. And I stared too. Not at the man on it, but at the room finally learning the difference between performance and truth. The clip ended without fanfare. No fade-out, no music swell, just the final line, "You're my favorite place to come home to," echoing into silence like it had nowhere else left to hide. I took the mic again. The room was dead quiet. Forks hovered midair, champagne glasses tilted but untouched. A napkin drifted to the floor like even gravity didn't want to break the moment. I looked out at everyone, then at him. He still hadn't moved. I cleared my throat once, not because I was nervous, but because I wanted the first real words to belong to me. "So when I said yes," I began, voice calm, measured, steady. I guess I was saying yes to someone else's story. Nobody breathed, I didn't cry, I didn't shake. I just let the silence stretch until it wrapped around everyone the way the lie had once wrapped around me, soft, golden, convincing. Then I smiled, not because I was happy, but because I was finally done pretending. "Thank you all for coming," I said gently. "There's food, there's wine, there's a gorgeous sunset waiting just outside." I handed the mic to a stunned wedding planner, stepped down from the stage, and walked out. No heels wobbling, no glance back, just one step in front of the other, and a door opening that should have never been closed behind someone like me. The messages started before I even got to the car. A string of buzzing vibrations in my purse, texts, voicemails, missed calls lighting up like a fire I didn't need to touch to feel the heat. I didn't check a single one. Layla was already waiting in the driver's seat, engine humming, door unlocked. She didn't say anything, just reached over, opened the glove box, and handed me a pair of clean flats. "Your exits are always iconic," she said. I slipped off my heels, breath finally easing out of my chest. I didn't even plan the speech. "You didn't have to," she pulled out of the gravel lot. "You showed it." We drove in silence for a while, the kind of silence that feels like safety, not space. Back at her apartment, we sat on the kitchen floor with cartons of Thai takeout between us and cheap wine in coffee mugs. My dress was wrinkled, my eyeliner smudged. I felt more like myself than I had in weeks. "Think he's still at the vineyard?" Layla asked, mouth full of noodles. "Probably, trying to rewrite history." She laughed. "You didn't just burn that house down. You nuked the zip code." I smiled, not wide, not performative, just enough. "I didn't even light a match," I said. "I just opened a window." She raised her mug to fresh air. We clinked, and just like that, I let the lie go. The letter came 2 days later. Cream envelope, his handwriting, no return address, just my name written like he still had the right to use it. Inside, a folded page. Short, no tears stained the ink. Just a few neat lines. carefully written like someone rehearsing an apology instead of feeling one. I panicked. I wanted it to be perfect. I wanted you to feel everything I felt, and I didn't know how to say it the right way. So I borrowed it, because it said everything I couldn't, but I meant every word, I swear I did. There was a link underneath, just a URL, no explanation. I typed it into my browser out of morbid curiosity, a YouTube video. Private, unlisted. He was sitting on the couch in his apartment. The same one we picked out together, same blue throw pillow, same plant we forgot to water. He looked directly into the camera and started speaking. No background music this time, no lights, just him and a forced apology disguised as vulnerability. I love you, he said. I just didn't know how to say it the right way. I watched the whole thing, then I copied the link, pasted it into a reply email. No subject, no body, just the same exact thing he gave me, a performance, and nothing more. I deleted the wedding folder the next morning. Dragged the entire thing into the trash, spreadsheets, vendor quotes, menu drafts, venue walkthroughs, engagement shoot proofs. Gone, not out of anger, just clarity. There was nothing left to salvage. No Pinterest board, no dress fitting. No dream worth staging for people who only saw the edited version anyway. I opened a blank document, not because I had something to write, but because I finally could. No noise, no script, no borrowed vows. Just a blinking cursor and my own voice waiting to fill the page. At the top, I typed, "Things that are still mine." And beneath it, the first line, "The silence I didn't break." Then, "The ring I didn't return not because I want it, but because I earned it." Then my name, my story, my next sentence. Because next time, I won't say yes to a performance. I'll say yes to something real, even if it's just me. Writing my own beginning. Alone, unborrowed, unapologetic, and finally mine. I didn't know how I'd feel when I hit delete. I thought maybe I'd cry, or panic, or scroll through one last time and cling to something, a photo, a playlist, a menu note with my favorite dessert circled in pink. But when the folder disappeared from my screen, I felt nothing, not the empty kind of nothing, the clean kind. I sat there for a moment, laptop humming, cursor blinking. The coffee beside me had gone cold, untouched since sunrise. The ring sat in a drawer across the room, not on a finger, not on a pedestal, just a thing, like every word he never wrote. I opened a new document, titled it, "Things That Are Still Mine." And I started writing, not about him, not about us, about me, the real me, the one who didn't need a camera to make something beautiful, the one who didn't perform, who didn't borrow. I wrote the first line, my voice unedited. Then another, my truth undressed, and then my love story unwritten but mine to begin. No one clapped, no one gasped, no music played, just silence. And this time it was perfect. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I love you all.